in tinfoil at the space between his wife's legs. "He is okay?" asked Kerman. "He comes now?" His accent was vaguely Slavic, the fins of his words dipping their uvular tips into a smooth lake of water. Everyone looked to where the beam of light had peeled back the darkness. There glistened the torpedo-like head of the child, covered in a white waxen substance. The sight encouraged Dr. Sherman back into action. He first slipped his finger beneath the child's chin, but when he felt no sign of the umbilical cord wrapped around the neck, he yelled, "Push!" Charlene did her best to comply with the order, her toes curling as she attempted to expel the entire contents of her abdomen. And when the breaking point was most certainly reached, surpassed, and then reached again, there was a soft popping sound, and the rest of the baby emerged, the starfish body tumbling out into the dim mustard glow of this world. Kerman leaned in to catch a first glimpse of his new child. Ever since his wife had come hobbling into his tiny electronics closet, staring at her dripping hand as if it were not her own, time had begun to unravel. The labor had come 3 weeks early. His fingers, so steady as he mended the cathode ruptures and fizzled diodes of his broken radios and televisions, suddenly became clumsy and numb at their tips, as if they were filled with a thick, viscous sap. In the hospital parking lot, he had taken the old Buick up and over the curb onto a low half-moon shrubbery, which had not weathered this trespass well at all. As he ushered a blanketed Charlene through the rotating doors, Kerman had looked back at the battered shrubs, lit by the ugly glow of the parking lot's blinking fluorescence, and wondered in that moment if they were prematurely introducing the future into the present. In the final days of World War II, his younger sister Tura had also been born 3 weeks early. He and his parents had been fleeing the advancing communist partisans for the uncertain refuge of Slovenia and the West, when she arrived suddenly, like a sneeze, in the mildewed basement of a Bosnian hotel on the River Sana. He remembered her, tiny and pink in their mother's arms, sheltered by a horsehair blanket while they rode in the back of a sputtering diesel truck past homes that burned and hissed against a light rain. "That is my sister in there," he thought, watching the blanket bounce to the staccato beat of the road's potholes. "She was born in the war, but she will not know the war. I will tell her how it was, so that we will always have the same memories." Tura would not have the same memories as he, nor any memories at all. On the second day, she opened her eyes to the light of this world, but she would not nurse, and so her body grew soft and light like a bird's. 1 week later, she was dead, from an illness that was never named. They buried her in an abandoned vineyard on the outskirts of Zagreb. After the impromptu ceremony, they were walking back to the truck when they discovered an unexploded German bomb lying only 20 meters from her grave. "Her headstone," his father Dobroslav had said, and it was not meant to be a joke, but they all began to laugh. And this felt good, until their mother started to weep again. 2 days later, she too would be dead, at a checkpoint near Ljubljana. Kerman was too young at the time to understand the particulars, but he knew it was because of something vaguely erotic, something wanted by the trigger-happy Russian private with the moth-eaten beard, and something refused by his grieving mother, who was malnourished and weak, but who was still, and always would be a strong-willed Radmanovic woman. His father had just turned from successfully negotiating their passage with the squat colonel, but it was too late. The young Russian guard had already shot her twice through the chest. It was as if the man had meant to push her backwards with the palm of his hand, but had simply used the wrong tool. He began to walk quickly away from the scene, so his comrades would not see the terror in his eyes. Instead of falling to the ground like a heavy doll, as Kerman had seen the prisoners do at the Chetnik executions, his mother shrank into herself, a reverse blossoming, coming to rest in a sitting position, like a ruminative Buddha.